Elon Musk is not a smart person, but he does have a lot of control over the narrative. A narrative that would make someone just bumping into their politics online think that Elon knows what he's doing, think that Doge is actually serving them, and think that Donald Trump has a broader plan that isn't just big tax cuts for the rich. And how Elon is trying to do that is playing on clips that don't represent what he is actually doing. Elon is now using clips of President Obama and Bill Clinton talking about government efficiency to try to make the case for Doge, which doesn't make a lot of sense because there's nothing efficient about it. He is using these clips, and it's actually kind of backfiring. And we're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into more of all of this, first we have to check out the post that Elon made.
One of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. Cutting waste, making government more efficient is something that leaders in both parties have worked on. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative. Budget reform is not an option. It's a necessity.
The American people are entitled to transparency.
We can't sustain a system that bleeds billions of taxpayer dollars on programs that have outlived their usefulness or exist solely because of the power of politicians, lobbyists, or interest groups.
They're entitled to be able to figure out where their dollars are going, and they're entitled to accountability to make sure that we're using the dollars for what we said it was for.
We are going to go through our federal budget, as I promised during the campaign, page by page, line by line, eliminating those programs we don't need and insisting that those that we do need operate in a sensible, cost-effective way. What should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody.
We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue.
No amount of waste is acceptable, not when it's your money.
We all know the government can be inefficient. We all know that the bureaucracy can be bloated. We all worked in the fucking White House. We tried to reorganize the government. We tried to find efficiency. It's hard to do.
And honestly, some of this is pretty annoying because it's some of the stuff we should have done.
So Elon is sharing these videos of President Obama. We see President Clinton, Vice President Biden at the time, talking about how we need more efficiency. We need to trim the fat. We need to get rid of waste. And of course, everyone agrees with that. We could start with Elon's defense contracts. That would be a great place, but he's not touching those, of course. What a shock. But what he fundamentally is disconnected on is the approach. And what Elon is actually doing is highlighting the fact that Republicans in Congress are continuing to fund these same programs that Elon says they need to get rid of in their new budget. Because they're not doing a lot different besides, of course, gutting Medicaid and making sure that people like Elon get an even bigger tax cut, a $5 trillion tax cut, by the way, if we haven't said it enough, which we need to. That's their plan. So it's actually backfiring. But what it is pointing out as well is that Elon and Trump, of course, want to consolidate as much power as they possibly can in their hands. It's the reason that they're okay with Republicans passing portions of this budget that they've said are waste because they want to decide how funds are appropriated. They don't want Congress to do so. They don't care what the Constitution has to say. They care what they have to say because they think they have a better way of doing things. But much to Elon's chagrin, and Donald Trump as well, he was quite upset about this. Barack Obama already pointed out how that went last time. Let's take a look.
Now, some people, because, I'm having conversations around the country with folks as I go campaigning. And I'll hear some people say, well, I remember the economy when those first 2 years with Trump, they were pretty good. And I say, yeah, it was good. Because it was my economy that I gave to him. 'Cause, 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 I had spent the previous 8 years cleaning up the mess that Republicans had left me. So when I handed over the economy to Donald Trump, we had had 75 straight months of job growth. And I said, here you go. And all he did with it was give a tax cut to people who did not need one, and drove up the deficit in the process. And now he wants to do it again. Now, wait. Now, in fairness, his other big economic plan is to slap tariffs on everything from food to TVs. Now, understand a tariff is any imported good, you just slap an extra cost on it. And if some other country's not playing fair in terms of trade, then you use it as a tool in your tool belt. But this is basically a Trump sales tax that could cost the average family almost $4,000 a year. This is not a plan to bring down prices. If you think prices are high now, Donald Trump's message is you ain't seen nothing yet.
Donald Trump inherited Barack Obama's economy. The only reason anyone thought positively about the Trump economy was because of the 8 years of President Obama. That is it. And the only reason anyone would think positively about the potential for Doge is because of some deregulation done by the Obama administration. Sure, some was done through executive order, but we saw a lot passed through Congress, who appropriates the funds. This is the government structure. This is what we've talked about. This is what not only they don't care about, but they want to uproot. But again, this is just a reminder of their failures. When Donald Trump took the economy into his hands, he crashed it. He is doing so again. We are seeing economists report that there will be negative economic growth. And now angry Elon is posting videos of Barack Obama, who's clearly triggered him just because he thinks he can use that to justify his action, when in fact Barack Obama is criticizing him for what he's done, these failures in our government. These are the economic geniuses. These are the businessmen. It's not a business. It's a government. And you're clearly screwing it up. Rachel Maddow pointed that out. This clip right here.
While the person who's really working double time to make the government actually do things appears to be his top campaign donor, who is getting all the attention and all the credit. And while Trump is, playing race cars and golf and enjoying the worst approval ratings of any new president in the history of polling, and they are getting worse with every passing day, meanwhile, here's just a partial list of the things that Elon Musk and his own companies have somehow reaped from the U.S. government while Trump was, putting. Headline, Justice Department to drop discrimination case against Elon Musk's SpaceX. The Justice Department had filed the case against SpaceX in August 2023, accusing the company of violating federal law in its hiring practices. Yesterday, quote, the Justice Department said it intended to file a notice of dismissal with prejudice, which means prosecutors would not be able to file these charges again. The motion did not say why the case was being dropped. So check that one off his list. Headline, Doge employee cuts fall heavily on agency that regulates Musk's Tesla. A small government team regulating the sort of autonomous cars that Elon Musk says represent the future of Tesla, his car company, is getting cut nearly in half by the Musk-led U.S. Doge service. Check that one off his list. The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration investigation in 2023 led to a National Highway Transportation Safety Administration investigation in 2023 led to a recall of 2 million Tesla vehicles. The same agency disclosed in April that it had documented numerous deadly crashes involving Tesla Autopilot. Now, thanks to Elon Musk's Doge, that same agency, the NHTSA, is losing about 10% of its workforce. Check that one off the list. Tesla, I should note, this year plans to put fully autonomous vehicles on the road this year. Yeah, and if you keep gutting the agency that regulates that sort of thing, who'll be there to stop them? Who'll be able to stop them before the crosswalk? Here's another headline. Fate of Rivian's $6.6 billion federal loan now hangs in the balance. Fortune magazine helpfully nuts up the key point at the top of this one. Quote, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp says he does not know whether the Trump administration will honor the contracts of the Biden administration. Quote, if the loan is canceled, Tesla CEO Elon Musk stands to benefit the most. Check Rivian off the list. Who needs that competitor? This comes after the Trump administration already cut off federal funds for the National Electric Vehicle Charging Network, which leaves Elon Musk's Tesla unchallenged as the largest charging network in the country. Never mind that he took huge U.S. government subsidies to build Tesla and to build that charging network. Now that he's done that and he's the biggest game in town, the Trump administration is pulling up the ladder so nobody else can compete with him. Nice work if you can get it. Check that one off the list. The FAA chairman who grounded Musk's Starship rocket program after it catastrophically disintegrated on a botched launch and sprayed debris all over the Caribbean and caused the diversion of dozens of flights. Musk had repeatedly demanded that FAA chair should resign. He resigned on Inauguration Day. And aviation security has been awesome ever since, right? At the FDA, they have fired the people who were overseeing Elon Musk's Neuralink brain implant company. At the USDA, they fired the Inspector General who was investigating Neuralink for its animal experimentation. At the Defense Department, they fired the Inspector General investigating Elon Musk over his alleged refusal to detail his contacts and ties with foreign governments, including our foreign adversaries. The Labor Department has multiple open investigations of Tesla. Trump's nominee for Labor Secretary would not commit either way at her confirmation hearing on whether she would allow Elon Musk and his Doge team to have access to those investigations of him at the Labor Department or to any other investigations involving his business rivals. Also, at least one U.S. government agency, the National Transportation Safety Board, has announced that it will only henceforth communicate with the public through Elon Musk's privately held social media company.
Let us make it as clear as we can, as many times as we can, that these guys don't know what they're doing. And finally, people are responding to it, but we have to continue to drive home the narrative. Elon owns so much of the internet, and the rest of it Donald Trump has in his back pocket. It is incumbent upon us to very strategically message against the betrayals of Donald Trump, the stupidity of Elon Musk, and what they're really after. Because big tax cuts for themselves. Hammer home that point as much as we possibly can. Be specific, be local, point it out. Don't let them try to trick people. That's what we got to do on the show. And of course, you know that. We're going to be doing it every single day. If you want to support it, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.